Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm here with February 2014's gaming PC build. So first things first, which I'm going to start with, is thanking you all for all the support. I've been blown away this week for getting 1000 subscribers. I really didn't believe when I saw 1000. I couldn't believe it. And also all the support which I got from my previous builds video. I managed to get more than 80 likes, so thank you very much. And another thing is that from this build onwards, I'm not gonna start listing the prices of the parts unless you all comment and tell me please make the price again. I would give you the price that there is at the moment. The thing is that on my previous month's video is that there was a part which had a certain price, and when one time passed, like let's just say the day after, or even like maybe an hour, it could be, I don't know, but a person commented and told me that when he went to check out the link, it didn't have the price that I said in the video. So it could have been that they made the price higher. Just I don't know why the prices are always changing in technology. It's just a fact. When you're with technology, you just need to keep the fact in your mind that prices are always changing. I don't know why. They should. I believe that olden technology should get cheaper, and modern, like if a graphics card just came out, it should be more expensive than the one before it. That's what I think it makes sense. Not sometimes, even with the GTX 780 Ti and the R9 290X. The R9 290X is more expensive than GTX 780 Ti. The R9 290X, I'm talking about the Gigabyte twin frozer, no, the twin frozers of MSI, the WindForce cooling with the 3 fans, and that's what I'm talking about. And the 780 Ti, I'm talking about the twin frozer from MSI. So it doesn't make sense if the MSI GeForce GTX 780 Ti is more powerful than the Gigabyte's R9 290X WindForce cooling is more expensive than the 780 Ti, because we all know that the 780 Ti is more powerful than the R9 290X. It's just a fact. Nvidia just waited until AMD beats the 780, which they did, and they just opened a new graphics card, which was the 780 Ti. They just unlocked the cores and that stuff. If you're into graphics cards, I hope that you know what I'm talking about. So let's start with the parts for this build. So for the CPU, I went with the AMD Athlon X4 750K. So this CPU is coming at 3.4 gigahertz. It's a quad core CPU. You can also overclock this CPU since it has, as you can see, a K. So when there is a K, it can be overclocked. Here's the contents of the box. You have the heatsink with the fan on it, the CPU itself, case badge, and paperwork. So very good CPU for the price which is right now. I think it's very worth it, considering you have a quad core CPU. And another thing I forgot to mention, this month's build, it's gonna be on a MicroATX. So it's gonna be a micro PC, not a normal ATX case. It's gonna be a MicroATX case. So next in our build, it's gonna be the motherboard. So for the motherboard, I had to choose a motherboard, obviously, which takes the AMD CPU, which is the MSI FM2 A75MA E35. So this motherboard comes very good in performance, so considering the very long name, but still a very solid motherboard considering it's a MicroATX. So you have two RAM slots, PCIe 3.0, USB 3.0. You have exactly after USB 3.0, SATA. Obviously nowadays you don't find the IDE anymore. It's just a fact. IDE is too old for performance. And it's a MicroATX, as I already said, since this build is MicroATX, and it is made for AMD. So that over here, as you can see, also there's the extra power for the CPU, and that's about it for the motherboard. So here's another picture of it. A very solid board, even for the price, considering now what the price is now. And as I already told you, since prices are always changing for I don't know what reason. So here's the back of the motherboard: PS2, USB 2.0, DVI, VGA, USB 2.0, another pair, HDMI, USB 3.0, another pair of USB 2.0, LAN, and your whole audio. So that's about it for the motherboard, and we're gonna head for the graphics card. Okay, so now I'm gonna leave time so I can put my drums, and it is the GeForce, the new graphics cards by AMG, which is the GTX 750 Ti. So I went to the ASUS aftermarket cooling, so which I saw very good in this graphics card, considering it's not the one that came out from Nvidia. It has the ASUS cooling, is that it has a VGA, so that might come in handy for you, it might not. It is a good thing to have, and it has it's made from ASUS, so obviously it's gonna be solid in performance. Also here you can see the power, so it only takes 6-pin power, and this version, it's the 2 GB version, so you're gonna have 2 GB of graphics cards RAM, which is very enough for games for now, considering we're gonna play them at 1080p at high medium settings. Maybe like games that came out in 2011, 10, maybe 12, you'll be able to play them at ultra with this card, but not new games like maybe Battlefield 4, maybe full HD, medium settings, maybe high the most, considering you have that 2 GB of RAM, which helps a lot. And it also has the cooling of ASUS, which has dual fan, as you can see on the box, which will help it, and it also can be overclocked, so I chose the overclocked edition, so you can get that extra performance if you would like to overclock your card. You have that option to overclock it. So also obviously it's gonna have DirectX 11, 2 gigs RAM, as I already said, and it's the overclocked version. So next for our build is the RAM. So I went with normal RAM sticks, which are the Corsair Vengeance Blue 8 GB kit, which has 2 sticks of 4 gigs each. So if you're a gamer, most probably you're not gonna know what these RAMs are. They come at 1600 megahertz and DDR3 obviously, and they're practically just a very powerful RAM for gaming. Next in our build is the hard drive. So I didn't want to get an SSD, not just because of performance, because of price. The SSD that I chose in my last build, the Crucial one, which was, if I'm not mistaken, the Crucial M50 or M500. It was something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And when I went to check it today to put it in this build, it went up by about $100. So I kind of like changed my mind on getting an SSD, which I I don't think you're gonna want to spend more than I think maybe the graphics card, more than the graphics card on your SSD. So the SSD which I chose from last month's build was the Crucial M500 240GB SSD. So if you would like to get the SSD still, I will make an annotation and write over here, and I will place the link of it as well in the description if you would like to get it just anyway. But for this build I'm gonna go with a normal hard drive. Also, if you're a gamer, you see a lot of tech builds on YouTube, you're gonna know what I am talking about, which is a normal Western Digital Caviar Black 1TB hard drive, which is SATA 3. Obviously it's not gonna be SATA 2 SF, and it's 7200 rotations per minute, and 64 megabytes of cache, so it's gonna be quite enough for gaming, and it's a very good hard drive considering it's Western Digital, as most of you know that Western Digital make very good hard drives. So next in our build is the power supply. So I went with 600 watts. I went with a lot for this build, but having that extra power, if you would like to maybe change the CPU and get a little more powerful CPU, considering that this CPU takes 100 watts of power, although it's little, but you might get another CPU and overclock it more. So, or even changing the graphics card, you might get a GTX 780 if you would like, and you would at least you would have, considering that that Nvidia recommend you having a with the GTX 780 for the power supply. Nvidia recommend that you have at least a 600 watt power supply, so you're gonna be safe on this way. So this power supply is also 80 plus bronze certified. Nowadays all power supplies are being certified under efficiency, because now we know what wasted energy means, and considering the price for this power supply, I really see that it's worth the price, and also it's made by Corsair, so it's not going to be a bad power supply. And as I already said, you have 600 watts of power, which is quite enough for this build. And for all of these parts to be put in for the case, I chose the Corsair Obsidian series 350D. So this case is MicroATX, as it takes a MicroATX motherboard, as I already told you. Here's the case from front, front as well, and as you can see over here, it has USB 3.0 and audio jack, microphone jack as well. Over here is the rear of the case. You have the rear fan where you put the power supply, where you put the graphics cards, where the motherboard comes out. And here's the front, with the front panel removed, so you have a fan in front as well included with the case. And here's the case in action. So this case can also hold 2 graphics cards, as you can see, and here's where the hard drive is kept in this case, and up is also a radiator, excuse me, no, yes, a radiator for liquid cooling. I think that's a Corsair H100i if I'm not mistaken, and the rear fan, and it's just a very good case. It's for the price, considering it's only, if I remember well, $89. It's a very powerful case for anything you might need. This case can also take ATX motherboards, not only MicroATX. And that's about it for this one's build. So let me see. Here's the case from the side, and yes, I've almost forgot to tell you that this case has also dust what do you call them, no, not fans, dust pads, to for the dust not to go. For example, if you decide to put the power supply upside down, the dust will not go in the power supply. This will hold the dust from going in the power supply. So that's about it for this month's build. Like this video if you liked it, dislike this video if you disliked it, and if you need any help, feel free to comment. And I've really appreciated all your support from these last ever since I created my YouTube channel. And thank you very much for watching this video. If you need anything, feel free to comment, and I would see you next time for next month's build.